No. So let's say we have the verb ذهب. We have the verb ذهب يذهب. Yes. Remember, guys, if we don't know the verb in pair, we are going to have a lot of problems. We are going to get in trouble, right? So we have to know at least the past and the present. ذهب يذهب. So what does ذهب يذهب mean? To go. Nice. Now, so how do we say go as a command verb, right? Right. Remember the first thing what we said, that this is how your book explains. Honestly, the way we studied, we never did. We studied the command verbs before doing the majizum, before doing the state. But anyway, that's fine. It's not that big deal. So the first thing they want you to do is convert yadhabu into majizum, right? It sounds very complicated, right? It's very simple, meaning make this verb into sukun. Simple as that, right? So you have yadhab. Yes? Yes? Yadhab. Okay, so the first thing is you make it into majizum. It means, guys, sukun. Think about, remember how we used to think in the noun, the marfu is dhamma, mansub is fatha, majrur is kasra, life was beautiful, everything was good, right? So in the beginning, the verbs, we should be doing the same thing. Marfu is dhamma, mansub is fatha, majzum is what? Sukun. There's no kasra in verb. Now, that is step number one. So what is step number two? Step number two is they want you to remove the harf of what? Of the present tense verb. Now, which one is the harf of present tense verb? What does it mean? What do we mean when we say the huruful mudare, harf, the letters of the present tense verb? Which one? If I tell you to remove the present tense letter of the present tense verb, which one? Yeah, exactly. Ya, ta, hamza, nun. Yes. So there's many ways you can just remember, like anaitu or anaita, uh, right? Anaitu, ta, doesn't matter. As long as you understand, you remember this set of letters. Hamza, nun, ya, ta. So that means they're basically talking about this one. So next one is you have to remove this. Jayyid. Not a big deal. Okay. Now we're in very interesting situation here. What's so interesting situation? We have sukun in the beginning. Okay. We have a sukun in the beginning. Now, if that's all, actually the making, command verb is as simple as that. It should have been just like that. You just remove the present tense because it's not a present tense, right? It is command verb. So we don't need the present tense here. So you remove it. Alhamdulillah, we removed it. This should have been enough. That's all we needed to do. But the problem here is that we have the word starting with what? Sukun. The word starting with sukun. Now that's a problem. In Arabic language, we cannot start a word with a sukun. They can't pronounce that thing. It is very difficult for Arab to pronounce, uh, just like that. Izhab, you know. But in English, we can, some of the words, as I told you, school, it has that sukun in the beginning, right? So they can pronounce this. So now they have to do something. And that's why when they have to change something, remember, Hamzatul Wasl comes to help. Usually it comes to help you with pronunciation most of the time. Even I'll give you a little bit secret. If something, sometimes I go a little bit out of tangent. You have al-bait, right? And what do we say usually? We say that alif lam is the letter the, isn't it? But if you go a little bit details or study some books, they will say no, no, no. The lam with sukun is what your the. That is the letter. That is what is making the definite. But because it has a sukun, you just bring the alif, you just bring the hamzatul wasl to make it pronounce. You understand? Anyway, so I'm just trying to give you idea how why these things are happening. Usually, in the basic class they don't teach you this thing, but I'm just telling you anyway. Jayed. So basically, we need a hamzatul wasl. Okay, we need hamzatul wasl to help us with pronunciation. Now, we have another thing to think about. Once we have hamzatul wasl, remember this is not an alif. If we put alif here, we already were choking. We already had a problem with sukun, right? We already had a problem with sukun. If we put alif here, alif has what, guys? What does alif have in terms of harakat or not? Hmm? Yes, it's always in sakin. It's always sukun. Always. So that means we're trying to remove this sukun and then we end up putting another sukun. That's not going to happen. That's not going to help, right? So we're not bringing alif. We're bringing hamzatul wasl. Why? This is a weak hamza, but it can help. It can carry harakat. It can carry letter. The harakat, the fatha, dam, or kasra. Okay, so that's why we're bringing hamzatul wasl. Now the question comes. We still need to think about the haraka. What haraka do we put? Do we put fatha, kasra, or dhamma? Here we have to go a little bit back to some of the fundamental of Arabic language, right? The default is if you need to put, this is one of the maxim, one of the rule. If you need to put a haraka to a sukun, like for some reason you need to put haraka, then you have to put kasra. That is the rule. If you can't, then we'll deal with that later. Okay, but the default is what? Default is kasra. Jayyid. So now that means we have our answer. We have to put what? We have to put, subhanallah. We have to put kasra. Idhab. Now, so basically you have idhab. From yadhab, you have idhab. Okay? Makes sense? Yes, yes. We're going to do one more and we'll just directly go to the command verb. Let's do one more. Okay, so the verb that Sister Noor asked is the sajada. Okay, we'll just do this one. Sajada. What is the present tense? As I told you guys, you cannot do anything if you don't know the present tense. What is the present tense? Hmm? That's why every verb you have to learn past and the present. Yes, yes, you do. Yes. So why we concerned? What's the big deal? Big deal is that we have to know what this. That's the only thing. Only thing we care about what goes here. Fatha, dhamma, or kasra. That's the only thing we care about. You see. Once we figure that out, rest is just simple math. So once we know this one, then everything else is fine. Because sometimes, as you say, dhahaba yadhabu. Everything else is same. The first one gets a fatha, second one gets sukun, the last one gets dhamma. First one gets a fatha, second one gets a sukun, last one gets a dhamma. So what is changing? Changing is this one. That's the one changing. And that's the one that screws up things. Okay, especially for remember when you have the past tense with all of them fatha, you cannot predict what's going to be the present tense. Okay, now so let's see what can we do here. We kind of want to directly jump to the command verb. Okay, so basically, what doesn't matter. Yeah, we can jump. For example, we know we have to remove the ya, so we remove the ya and everything else stays, and we have to put sukun at the end. Okay, and now we have to put hamzatul wasl. Everything is fine, so far so good. Okay, now the only issue is what do we put, what haraka do we put in hamzatul wasl? We said that we start with kasra. Okay, that's the first thing. We have to put kasra, and then there will be time then we think the kasra is not working, and unfortunately or fortunately, this is the time. Why? Because there's a different opinion why is that case, but the situation is that when you have a dhamma in the middle, okay, then you cannot have a kasra. Then you have to put dhamma in the hamzatul wasl as well. Usjud, because it's for them it's very difficult to say isjud. Like, I don't know what kind of difficulty they had, but that's the explanation that we get. Usually in the verb they usually don't have these kind of things where you go from kasra all the way to the dhamma. Yes. So here it's going to be usjud. So I'm going to quickly give you something and see if you can figure out. Kataba, and I want you to make it into command verb. What do you have to know? You have to know what is the situation of the middle haraka in the present tense verb. Okay, so you have to know the present tense verb. Yaktubu. You're close, but not quite. Yes, yes. Oh, I thought you gave me, yes, you're close. You're right on the present tense verb. I thought you giving me the command verb. Yes, yaktubu. Yes, yaktubu. So now exactly. So what do you do? Exactly, you guys are getting it, because as long as you understand that the dhamma in the middle, only thing you're thinking about, how do I pronounce? Do I say iktub or uktub? Everything else is the same, because you get the sukun at the end. These are all business. We already understand, right? We know it's going to be hamzatul wasal. We know everything is there. On subhanallah. My, okay. So only thing is that what am I keep on putting? Only thing is that what we have to know, do we say uktub or iktub? Why am I saying uktub? Because the dhamma is there. The way, and then honestly, from now on, the way we used to learn verb, it would be kataba. I'll tell you how we used to learn every verb. We used to learn it like this: kataba, yaktubu, uktub. Okay, trust me, there's a lot more we had to learn for each of them. But that's all you need to know for the verbs. The other ones are, you go into the nouns, which inshallah we'll see in the morph class. So you learn kataba, yaktubu, uktub. Dhahaba, yadhabu, idhab. Daraba, what's going to be for daraba? Daraba, yad, ribu, idrib. Then nasara, yansuru, what? Yan, suru. What do you think? See if your brain works. Nasara, yansuru, unsur. Yes. Because you see in the present tense, you have that dhamma sound. Nasara, yansuru, unsur. Okay. Dakhala, yadkhulu, udkhul. Okay. It's all about the present tense verb. Uh, yadkhulu. Okay. Then it's going to be udkhul. Jade, so we have to complete here a few things. So all we have done so far is what we have done, the anta. So we got to see, how do we say anti, antuma, antum, and antunna. Now, so how do you say anti? That's why the book, or it's not only this book, I've seen other book does it also. They teach you mansub and majzum first. What is the state of anti in the, first of all, you have to know what is the marfu. Anti, which verb we're doing? Taktub, right? You have taktubina. Remember this thing. This is a little bit difficult, right? It's not easy for the beginners to understand, right? You have, right? Taktubina. You have two additional letters here. Anti taktubina. Then in mansub, what happens? We remove the noon. So we say lan taktubi. And in majzum, we also remove the noon. It says lan taktubi, yes, lam taktubi is the same situation, right? Yes, you understand? Yes. In the command verb, it would be exactly the same situation. So maybe we'll just continue the way they explain. So first thing, we'll make this one. I'll just write the marfu also. Tadhabina. Yes. Tadhabina. Yes. I'm writing it so that, because it's a little bit difficult, so that you can refer to this verb. So you say anta tadhhab, tadhhabu. Okay, anti tadhhabina. These are all rules. Anta tadhhabu, anti tadhhabina. Yes. So now, what is the majzum state of tadhhabina? And this is what kind of verb is this? Who remembers? What kind of verb is this? This kind of verb has a very special name. The grammarians like to give names to every single thing in Arabic language. Subhanallah. Every letter has a name. It's called af'alul khamsa. Yes, that khamsa, the five verbs. Yes. Okay. So this is one of the five verbs. Okay. So what is the rule right now? Once you can identify that this is one of the five verbs, like, so what is the rule of making into majzum? How do you make it into majzum? You do what? Drop the noon. Simple. Exactly, that is. So now all of these five verbs, all you have to say is drop the noon. This is good for mansub and majzum. So in the Quran, you see this thing and there's no noon, you're scratching your head, you're like, what's going on? This is your clear indication that this verb is in mansub or majzum state. So you have to know the context. At that point, you have to understand this is not your standard marfu. Something is happening with this verb. Okay. So this is your clear indication. So that means what? If it was in a majzum state, it would be yad habi. So what was the rule? Next rule is that you have to remove one of what? One of the uh, just the book will say one of, just remove the first letter, the ya. Okay, basically you have to remove what? The present tense harful mudare. So you have yad habi. So you remove that, so you have this one. Now, only thing you have to do what? You put hamzatul wasl, and then you put a kasra, and everything is good. After you put a kasra, just make sure what which one is the which one is your middle letters. This one is the middle letter. Just make sure it doesn't have dhamma. If it has dhamma, just change it to dhamma. Everything else, just put a kasra. Idhabi. Okay. So now looks how interesting. If you want to say something to someone, a boy, you say go, you say idhab, idhab. But for a girl, you have to say idhabi, idhabi. Okay, so it's very clear in the context that you're commanding whether a masculine person or the feminine person. Idhab, idhabi. Okay, antuma. Someone give me the verb dhahaba yadhabu. How do we say antuma in the normal case, the marfu state? Antuma. You two go. You two are going. In the present tense, you two are going. Tadhabani, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Tadhabani. Yes. Everybody agrees? Tadhabani, right? Now, so far so good. Now the question is, see if you can identify that this is what kind of verb is this? If you're working with present tense verb, guys, you have to think about this question. If it's not, if it has some kind of suffix, you have to know, is this one of your five verbs or not? Is this one of your five verbs? Yes or no? Yes. If it's one of your five verbs, whatever Brother Karim said, it's the rule still applies. What did he say? He said drop the noun. That means I don't have to think about any other rules. It's one of the five verbs. Only rule is drop the noun. Simple as that. So okay, so I drop the noun and then I add. So if you want to go directly to the command verb, you think like this. I drop the noun and I replace the sign of the harful mudare with the hamzatul wasl. You can do two at the same time now, right? So drop the noon and put hamza instead of ya or ta, whatever is in the beginning. Okay, so I put hamzatul wasl, then I do this one, and then I drop the noon, and then I put kasra. Idhaba. Okay, idhaba. That's it. So right now, this is your command verb. This is your command verb. So the rule is what? We drop the noon and we put hamzatul wasl. Okay. So antum, what is the present tense verb of antum for dhahaba yadhabu? Someone, dhahaba yadhabu, and you want to say antum. You all go. So it will be tadhabuna. Tadhabuna. Yes. You guys are getting it. Tadha. Remember, it would it the normal case is tadhabu. You go, single person. I didn't write it. First here, it will be tadhabu. Yes. You're saying anta tadhabu, you're going, but now it's a plural, and this is where you see. Remember, the plural kind of matches with the nouns. Tadhabuna. You see noon, your brain is thinking. Wait a minute. Is this one of my five verbs? Because I know the noon, the five verbs has noon in the present tense verb. Is this one of your five verbs? Yes, guys. Yes or no? If it's yes, my life is easy. Yes? Okay, good. So that means my life is easy. I know the rule because Brother Karim said drop the noon. So I will drop the noon. So what do I do? Very simple. And remember, I can work on two things at once right now. I change the first letter with what? Hamzatul Wasl, and I just drop the noon. So I put Hamzatul Wasl, and then I just simply copy everything with my eyes closed. Well, maybe not with eyes closed. And then, of course, you have that gatekeeper, right? Jade. So we go directly from present tense all the way to the command verb. Idhabu. Idhabu. Yes. Idhabu. Jade. Okay, so the last one we have antunna. What is the present tense verb for antunna for zahaba yadhabu? Hmm? Tadhabna. So we have tadhabna. 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 Okay, so good. I have all my noons. Looks like I got my noons. So I got another noon. So that means this is also one of the five verbs, right? What? This is five verbs. We have, what are you talking about? Tadhabani, then you have tadhabina, tadhabuna, tadhabna. It's the same noon. So if you have a noon, then it is one of those five verbs, right? Af'alul khamsa. No? I cannot drop. What? Wow, subhanAllah, you guys are really, really paying attention. Jayyid, ahsantum. This is your strong noon. This is not part of the five verbs. So what happened? So what does that mean? We had only two rules. One is that you drop it if there's a noon at the end, and then you replace the first letter with the hamzatul wasl. So you guys are insisting, choking me here that I cannot remove my noon. Okay, at least can I please change my first letter? Let's see what happens. So idhabna. Will you let me do this one? Idhabna? Yes? Okay, then that's answer. Idhabna.